All right, so what if math class wasn't just about solving for x? I mean, really. Today, we're going to dig into this really powerful idea that completely flips the script on math, turning it from just a bunch of numbers into a tool for, understanding the world around us. So let's dive right in.
Okay, first, I want you to do something for me. Just take a second and think back to your own math class. What pops into your head? For a lot of us, right, it's a very specific memory, and maybe not always a super happy one. Maybe even a little bit stressful.
And there's a reason for that. This study we're looking at points out that so often math class is just rote memorization, right? You learn the formula, you plug in the numbers, you get the answer, you move on. And you never really connect it to anything real, to the world outside the classroom.
But, the problem goes even deeper than that. The research we're looking at argues that math has often been used as a gatekeeper. Think about that. A subject used to sort and even segregate students, which can create these educational gaps that last a whole lifetime. So, what's the alternative? Is there another way?
Well, that brings us right to the heart of this whole study. It's a concept called math for social justice. And yeah, it's a complete reframing, a total rethink of what math class can and maybe even should be.
So what does that actually mean? Look, it's not about ditching math for social studies, not at all. It's really about two connected goals. The first one is still high-quality, rigorous math instruction. That's not negotiable. But the second goal is to use that very same math as a tool, a lens, really, to help students understand the social and political world they're living in.
And this whole approach is built on a few really key principles. It's all about using students' actual real-life experiences to make math feel relevant. It's about taking those math skills to investigate real social issues. The idea is to empower learners to actually create change and to help them see how math, the subject itself, plays a huge role in shaping our society.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in a real classroom? Well, to find that out, this study takes us to a pretty specific place, a classroom in Pakistan.
So here's the setup. Researchers teamed up with 4 teachers and their 80 students who were in 5th and 6th grade, and the goal was totally collaborative. They just wanted to figure out, together, how to make math more meaningful and then, see what happens when you actually do it.
And they had this really neat 3-step process. First, the teachers dug into the theory, did the reading. Then they got together to design brand new activities based on those ideas. And finally, they actually tried them out in their classrooms and reflected on how it went. It was this continuous cycle of learning, trying, and improving.
So let's get to the good stuff. What did this actually look like for the kids? I mean, how in the world do you connect something like fractions or geometry to social justice? It sounds kind of abstract, right?
Okay, this table is wow. It breaks it down so perfectly. Just look at this. To teach graphs, they didn't use some boring, made-up data. No. The students analyzed real data on global labor wages to talk about unfair resource distribution. To learn percentages, they calculated the actual percentage of kids in their own area who couldn't go to school. I mean, that's a direct, really powerful link.
Let's just zoom in on one of these to see how simple, but also how effective this whole thing can be. So the math concept was fractions, the social goal, understanding equity and fairness. And check out how they did it. This is just brilliant. Instead of drawing circles on a whiteboard, the students worked in pairs and were given an actual apple. Their task? Share it equally, so everyone gets a fair share. They physically felt what a fair share was, connecting the math idea of a fraction to the social idea of equity. So simple, right? All right, so they did all this. They ran these really innovative lessons, connecting math to the real world in a big way. The big question is, did it work? What was the actual impact on the teachers and, of course, on the students?
Well, when they analyzed everything, 4 big themes popped out. First, there was this massive shift in how the teachers themselves thought about math. Second, they saw a huge jump in what they call learner agency. Basically, students taking charge of their own learning. Third, the collaborative way they did the research was super powerful. And fourth, there was a direct impact on skills and achievement.
Okay, this right here is incredible. Just look at the transformation in this one teacher's thinking. Before the project, when asked, "What is math?" they literally said, "I don't really know what it is." But after, they saw math as a tool. They said, "I realized how I used the given scheme of work to highlight the social justice issues along with math concepts." I mean, talk about a profound shift. That's night and day.
And a huge reason for that kind of shift was the collaboration. One teacher, her name was Ruba, she called it the most transformative period of my life. And the teachers explained that being in this supportive group where nobody was judging them, it just gave them the confidence, the safety to take risks and try these new, scary things in their classrooms. And this might be one of the most powerful findings of the whole study. You might think, okay, the top students would love this, right? But what the researchers found was that the biggest improvements in both engagement and performance were actually seen in the students who had been labeled lower achieving. It's like when students can see themselves and their own world in the math problems, that barrier to entry just vanishes, motivation skyrockets, and that can really help close that achievement gap.
So let's zoom back out. What are the big takeaways here? I mean, this is one study in Pakistan, but why does this matter for education, everywhere?
Well, the implications are pretty huge. This study basically proves that math can be this incredibly powerful tool for understanding our world. It shows that when you give students some control and connect the lessons to their lives, engagement just shoots up, especially for the students who've been struggling. And it confirms something really important. Giving teachers these collaborative, supportive spaces to grow and experiment, that's the absolute key to making real change happen.
And all of this really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. What if? What if we've been thinking about the whole point of math class all wrong? What if its real purpose isn't just about finding the one right answer, but about empowering us to ask better, smarter questions about the world we all live in?